از منابع موثق دریافت کنم به محض اینکه تصاویر به دستمون برسه با تأیید منابع رسمی در خصوص تصاویر و صداهایی که شنیده شده.
For years, the Iranian regime has called for the destruction of the state of Israel, planning and advancing concrete military plans to do so. Over the past few months, intelligence has shown that Iran is closer than ever to obtaining a nuclear weapon. This morning, the IDF began preemptive and precise strikes targeting the Iranian nuclear program in order to prevent the Iranian regime's ability to build a nuclear bomb in the immediate time frame. We have no choice. We are operating against an imminent and existential threat. We cannot allow the Iranian regime to obtain a nuclear weapon that would be a danger to Israel and the entire world. This operation is for our right to exist here, for our future and for our children's future. The State of Israel has the right and the obligation to operate in order to protect its people and will continue to do so. The IDF conducted significant preparations for this operation. We are well prepared both in defense and offense to defend ourselves. The IDF will continue to defend the State of Israel.
نزدیک پادگان قلمرگیه. پادگان قلمرگیه اینجا. نزدیک پادگان قلمرگیه.
Preemptive strikes, a state of emergency, has been declared in Israel as well. Iran residents were woken up at 3 a.m. by warning sirens and phone alerts stating changes to the home front, commands in Israel and warning of a retaliation from Iran. Unnamed US officials say the US did not assist in the attack. And this
Moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. For decades, the tyrants of Tehran have brazenly, openly called for Israel's destruction. They've backed up their genocidal rhetoric with a program to develop nuclear weapons. In recent years, Iran has produced enough highly enriched uranium for 9 atom bombs. 9. In recent months, Iran has taken steps that it has never taken before, steps to weaponize this enriched uranium. And if not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than a year. This is a clear and present danger to Israel's very survival. 80 years ago, the Jewish people were the victims of a Holocaust perpetrated by the Nazi regime. Today, the Jewish state refuses to be a victim of a nuclear Holocaust perpetrated by the Iranian regime. Now, as Prime Minister, I've made it clear time and again, Israel will never allow those who call for our annihilation to develop the means to achieve that goal. Tonight, Israel backs those words with action. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear enrichment program. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear weaponization program. We targeted Iran's main enrichment facility in Natanz. We targeted Iran's leading nuclear scientists working on the Iranian bomb. We also struck at the heart of Iran's ballistic missile program. Last year, Iran fired 300 ballistic missiles at Israel. Each of these missiles carries a ton of explosives and threatens the lives of hundreds of people. Soon, those missiles could carry a nuclear payload, threatening the lives not of hundreds, but of millions. Iran is gearing up to produce 10,000 of those ballistic missiles within 3 years. Now just imagine 10,000 tons of TNT landing on a country the size of New Jersey. This is an intolerable threat. It too must be stopped. Iran is now working on what it calls the new plan to destroy Israel. You see, the old plan failed. Iran and its proxies tried to encircle Israel with a ring of fire and to attack us with the horrible attack of October 7th. But the people of Israel, the soldiers of Israel, rose like lions to defend our country. We crushed Hamas, we devastated Hezbollah, we hit Iranian proxies in Syria and Yemen. And when Iran directly attacked us twice last year, we struck back inside Iran itself. Yet in defending ourselves, we also defend others. We defend our Arab neighbors. They too have suffered from Iran's campaign of chaos and carnage. Our actions against Iran's proxy Hezbollah led to the establishment of a new government in Lebanon and the collapse of Assad's murderous regime in Syria. The peoples of those two countries now have a chance for a different future, a better future. So too do the brave people of Iran, and I have a message for them. Our fight is not with you. Our fight is with the brutal dictatorship that has oppressed you for 46 years. I believe that the day of your liberation is near. And when that happens, the great friendship between our two ancient peoples will flourish once again. I want to assure the civilized world, we will not let the world's most dangerous regime get the world's most dangerous weapons. And Iran plans to give those weapons, nuclear weapons, to its terrorist proxies. That would make the nightmare of nuclear terrorism all too real. The increasing range of Iran's ballistic missiles would bring that nuclear nightmare to the cities of Europe and eventually to America. Remember, Iran calls Israel the small Satan. It calls America the great Satan. And this is why for decades, It's led millions in the chance of death to Israel and death to America. Today, Israel is responding to those genocidal calls with action and with a call of our own. Long live Israel and long live America. Our action will help make the world a much safer place. I want to thank President Trump for his leadership in confronting Iran's nuclear weapons program. He has made clear time and again that Iran cannot have a nuclear enrichment program. Today, it is clear that Iran is just buying for time. It refuses to agree to this basic requirement of peaceful nations. That is why we have no choice but to act, and act now. The hardest decision any leader has to make is to thwart a danger before it is fully materialized. Nearly a century ago, facing the Nazis, a generation of leaders failed to act in time. They were paralyzed by the horrors of World War I. They were determined to avoid war at all costs, and they got the worst war ever. They adopted a policy of appeasement. They closed their eyes and ears to all the warning signs. That failure to act resulted in World War II, the deadliest war in history. It claimed the lives of 60 million, including 6 million Jews, a third of my people. After that war, the Jewish people and the Jewish state vowed, never again. Well, never again is now. Today, Israel has shown that we have learned the lessons of history. When enemies vow to destroy you, believe them. When enemies build weapons of mass death, stop them. As the Bible teaches us, when someone comes to kill you, rise and act first. This is exactly what Israel has done today. We have risen like lions to defend ourselves. Over 3,000 years ago, Moses gave the people of Israel a message that has steeled their resolve ever since. Be strong and courageous, he said. Today, our strong and courageous soldiers and people stand together to defend ourselves against those who seek our destruction. And by defending ourselves, we defend many others, and we roll back a murderous tyranny. Generations from now, history will record that our generation stood its ground, acted in time, and secured our common future. May God bless Israel. May God bless the forces of civilization everywhere.
Barak Ravid has the same report as Manny Fabian. He says, well, he say basically the same. Barak Ravid reports chances are increasing that the Iranian general staff, including the Iranian chief of staff, and senior nuclear scientists were killed in the opening blow. Oh, hold on a second. Breaking news from Barak Ravid. Whoa, this is interesting. Breaking news from Barak Ravid, who is an Israeli reporter. He reports, Barak Ravid reports, an Israeli official says, according to Barak Ravid, that alongside extensive strikes by the Israeli Air Force, the Mossad led a series of covert counter-terrorism operations deep inside Iran. These operations were designed to damage Iran's strategic missile array and air defense capabilities. Maybe Israel has damaged some of Iran's capability to strike back at Israel. That I don't know. I got to turn the lights up on this thing. Hold on a second here.
The Associated Press, their dateline is in Dubai. They report this, and I'm reading that explosions have rang out across Iran's capital as Israel claimed it was attacking the country. People in Tehran awoke to the sound of the blast, according to state television. So state television, according to the Associated Press, in Iran, acknowledging that there are explosions, that there is a blast. Like I said, Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, announced a quote-unquote, they're calling it special situation in Israel over Israel attacking Iran. He said schools would be closed in the country Friday, that there was no immediate word on what was struck here.
Those were contained. Those were something that happened over the course of several hours that were contained. Right now, what we're hearing from Iran is that there are explosions that are going on in Tehran. That unto itself is somewhat important. On the one hand, that's symbolic. Tehran, of course, the capital, one of the most fortified areas, there's reports of air defenses going off. But it's also important to remember, Tehran does not have the most important and not the most fortified nuclear facilities of Iran. It has a nuclear research center. It has areas that they develop more conventional weapons. But there are other sites that are the key sites for the Israel would target if it actually wanted to remove, quote unquote, the Iranian threat. So,
which they reportedly have already overnight, over the last few hours. So I think the Iranians will react, will respond against Israel. Now, how will they respond, right, is the big question. To what extent will they respond? If this would have happened, let's say 3 years ago or 4 years ago, I would have been very concerned about groups like Hezbollah, for example, or Palestinian armed groups in Gaza, of course, the Houthis, and then Syria as well, groups in Syria. I would have been very concerned about strikes or rather attacks emanating from there. Reason being is that many groups that operate in those areas, are linked to Iran, right? Or they're either a part of their network of proxies or they're clients of Iran. But what we have observed over the last 2 years, or about rather a year and a half, a little bit more than a year and a half, is that these proxies have been degraded significantly, right? So Iran's insurance card, which was really Hezbollah more than anything, Hezbollah has suffered significantly, right? Especially last year during the war. So, but I still think we'll see, it's very possible we'll see strikes from proxy groups, namely Hezbollah, namely the Houthis, perhaps from Iraq as well, in coordination with Iran.
ساعت الان 3:37 ورودی فرحزاده پایین.
This is Yair Pinto bringing you Boots on the Ground live. I'm here with Mati Shoshani, and the latest news from Israel is that a few minutes ago, less than an hour, Israel struck in Iran. And I repeat, Israel struck in Iran. So I'm here with Mati Shoshani bringing you the whole truth about what is happening now in the Middle East. Iran enriched fissile material for 15 atom bombs. Israel just launched a preemptive strike and dozens of nuclear facilities were hit. That Iran planned a missile and a UAV attack against Israel, tried to eliminate. Israel is now striking in Iran, and this is a special situation that is going on all across the country, as the home front is on the highest alert, and all educational gatherings was canceled up until further notice. A missile and a UAV attack is expected in retaliation from Iran against Israel. So this is called Operation Am Kelavi, which is a nation as a lion. After a dramatic 24 hours, the report came true, and Defense Minister Israel Katz announced a preemptive strike by the State of Israel against Iran. The IDF stressed that the goal is to hit the nuclear and the missile program and not to topple the regime. And Defense Minister Israel Katz announced at the start of the operation that he hereby immediately declares a special situation on the home front throughout the entire territory of the State of Israel. And the Home Front Command activated emergency alerts across the country and asked the public to stay in protected spaces. Following the State of Israel's preemptive strike against Iran, a missile and a UAV attack on the State of Israel and its citizens' population is expected in the immediate term. This is according to the Israeli officials. So the Fars news agency reported explosions in Tehran after the start of the operation, and the Iran international site reported hits to residential buildings where senior military officials and politicians live. The Sabrin news agency, which is identified with the pro-Iranian militias in Iraq, reported explosions in the skies over Baghdad. Mati, how did you wake up and heard everything that's going on here in this situation?
Well, I woke up abruptly, I think, like we all did. but not to make light of this, we've been waiting for this to come for a very long time.
Technology in Israel went up a notch. This is not just another missile from the Houthis in Yemen. This is a whole new level of threat. And at the moment, the country is waiting for the response from Iran towards the airstrikes that hit their nuclear facilities, their key personnel, and their military installations. And guys, for those of you that are just joining us now for this live update, I'm Yair Pinto, and I'm here with Mati Shoshani. Moment that we are living in right now. Israel struck Iran. I'm talking about airplanes striking precise targets in the Islamic Republic of Iran related to Iran's Revolutionary Guards Corps, related to their nuclear military installations, relating to key leadership in Iran. And this is a country 2,000 kilometers away from Israel. The strikes were precise. We did not receive any updates or any information of any kind of casualties on the side of the Israeli Air Force in this attack. And at the moment, thousands of reserve soldiers were called into action with a mandatory order to go to their units, mainly in the anti-aerial defensive units of Israel, talking about the Arrow, the laser beam, the Iron Dome, the David Sling, and all the other aerial defensive systems that Israel has. And on top of that, also divisions from Judea and Samaria to come and protect the Israeli communities from any kind of possible Palestinian terror attack against the communities of the State of Israel, against military installations in Iran. So the strikes are still ongoing as I am speaking now, and we have reports of 270 missiles that were struck and hit Iranian targets all across the country of Iran. And Iran is now preparing for a tough response against Israel. Iran will launch massive attacks on Israel in the next few hours. This is according to the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps. And we have additional information of that another nuclear scientist and head of the nuclear regime was attacked in this strike. So the targets are very clear: military installations, military sites that can carry attacks against Israel, including nuclear facilities and nuclear personnel that are involved in running the nuclear program, that are threatening Israel with strikes and annihilation. This is the situation, and it's very important for the world to know Israel is not at war against the Iranian people. Prime Minister of Israel stated it before: we love the Iranian people, and they deserve a better leadership than the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps that is investing all their efforts, all their money, all their energy in proxies, in terrorist groups, and in the nuclear program, instead of investing it in the Iranian people. So guys, if you are here, please pray for Israel. Please pray for the Iranian people to have a different leadership, a better government than the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps.
To shelter. I did the same with my kids, then send them back to bed. We've been running this live for an hour now. We want you to know that Israel stands strong, but also that what the Israeli Air Force and the Israeli intelligence organizations are doing in Iran right now is a historic moment. The level of intelligence needed to target these people in their homes, heads of the IRGC, heads and chief scientists in the Iranian nuclear program, all assassinated in their homes, we're at an amazing place. I can only imagine there will be an Iranian response. Israel has a lot of technology and a very strong army to protect it. But again, Iran is not someone to be disregarded as an irrelevant adversary. They've spent a lot of money and a lot of time building up an army. Anyway, recapping here, a historic moment here in Israel. The Israeli Air Force, multiple waves of attacks in Iran, multiple executives in the IRGC and the Iranian nuclear program that have been assassinated, eliminated, multiple facilities related to the Iranian nuclear program that have been eliminated. And we're standing here now in this early morning of Friday, June 13th, in a historic moment. Again, I think we're going to be talking about this moment for many, many years to come.
Yeah, definitely, Mati. And just to recap the situation from a broader perspective, Israel has been carrying strikes in Yemen for the past few months, and the distance between Yemen and the Houthis in Yemen and the Islamic Revolutionary Guards is almost the same, more than 2,000 kilometers away from Israel. This is a huge military facility that was discussed multiple times in the international media of developing nuclear weapons, and Iran closed its aerial airspace up until further notice. Okay, this is the latest report now. So guys, this is the situation at the moment in Israel. The strikes against the nuclear facilities in Iran are happening as we speak. We have assurances from the United States that they will back us and defend us against Iranian retaliation strikes on Israel. And we ask you, wherever you are, to help us in prayer.